You never know what life will bring you. While traveling to Idaho to watch my husband compete in the Ironman triathlon, I went into labor at just 30 weeks. Noah was born at 3.5 pounds and was immediately life-flighted to the NICU in Spokane, Washington.
Kind of overwhelming at the time. We've kind of got a crash course on Noah of what they're looking to do, and obviously he was breathing right from the start, so that was a positive sign. But in order for him to leave the hospital, he had to suck, swallow, and breathe all at one time and continuously gain weight. We have pictures of him as a little tiny guy that's in your hands that it's just hard to imagine how he's gonna grow in 2 months to be able to go home with us.
Having to live away from our home for months while Noah stabilized was hard, but watching his high anxiety and trouble with eating has been overwhelming.
It's when we started introducing solids into his diet. I think we tried like avocados and things of that nature, and he just wasn't taking to it. And we got concerned, and we talked to our pediatrician, and we talked to other people, and they're like, no, he's just a preemie, let it go, and it's gonna get better. When he's wanting to eat, he'll eat, and it just never happened. And that's where the frustration kind of set in. No one likes to see their kids sick. And we were on a daily basis seeing him like something would hit the back of his throat, and it just triggered this whole chain reaction of whether it be vomiting, crying, and it was just strange to see and tough to see.
I would say about his 14-month mark when I didn't know that there was a such thing as toddler formula until that time. I didn't know what we were gonna do. I'm reading how many calories a day he's supposed to be having. We're not getting anywhere near that. I can't feed him more liquid. His stomach didn't have the capacity to have just bottle on top of bottle on top of bottle. He would vomit his entire stomach contents, and so that wasn't working for us. And then obviously with the throwing up comes concerns that he's losing calories and that it's bad for him, and we didn't know what we were gonna do.
It's very frustrating to go from one specialist to another, and them not having the background story of Noah, because it seems like we spin our wheels.
It's almost like you don't want to go out around other people in certain situations, like when food is going to be involved or when we're going to have to feed him, because he gets all of his nutrition through a bottle and is almost 2 years old, and that's not how they should be getting nutrition, and everybody will tell you that that's not how we should be getting nutrition. When we felt like we had exhausted all of our options with our doctors, our specialists, our current team of therapists, I was just frustrated, and I reached out to Chrislyn at Feeding Matters and just kind of laid our story out for her. And she's so compassionate and was like, Amanda, let's get together and let me hear what you guys are going through, and then let me tell you a little bit more about what we've got going on. Then baby Charlotte comes along. She was born on schedule, is healthy, and has an internal motivation to eat. I can see more clearly now that Noah's red flags were overlooked because of his prematurity. We kept thinking, like, waiting for the other shoe to drop, and it just hasn't. She just has breastfed very well from the very beginning. When we introduced baby food, couldn't get enough. When we introduced table food, can't get enough. I mean, she's just at the exact opposite end of the spectrum. He loves feeding her. He just doesn't want anything to do with in turn feeding himself afterward. So he'll, sit down with me while we feed her. He'll feed me, and then it's his turn, and he pretends to eat.
He gets along with his sister all right. Sometimes we have to tell him to be gentle. He's a little rough, but she'll definitely be able to hold her own coming up, because she might be bigger than him in the next 6 months.
Between the tongue tie specialist that we got in touch with through Feeding Matters and our current feeding therapist that they referred us to are the two things that have made the absolute biggest difference in this journey that we've been on for the last 2 years, trying to figure out our feeding issues with our son. And we wouldn't have gotten connected to those things without Feeding Matters. Absolutely. You have to keep doing research, and you have to keep talking to people until somebody hears you, until you know that you've been heard.
You may feel alone, but there's people out there that are in the same exact situation you are. And there ultimately is a light at the end of the tunnel. It gets better. It does. It really does. In the end, it does get better.